Hello, everyone. I know today's discussion is not going to be boring. We have a bright soul, a bright personality, literally, literally bright and fun. I hope you will all get to know and fall in love with Amy, like I did when I saw her at the matchmaking conference in Florida. I could not help myself but ask her to join the discussion and share her insight. She is a matchmaker from New York, and I will actually going to let Amy introduce herself the way she would like to be introduced, um, and we'll continue the discussion.
Hello, people of the internet. My name is Amy Van Doran. I'm a matchmaker in New York City. For the last decade, I've been running my company, the Modern Love Club, in the East Village, and we actually do all of our matchmaking inside of our space, which is a storefront on the street, and also an art gallery. So I'm, matchmaking inside of an art gallery.
Yes, it's beautiful. Amy showed me a little bit of uh, the office, and it's kind of amazing to have a matchmaking right in the art gallery. How creative is that?
It just makes sense because if you're curating people's love lives, if you're putting the person where the person goes, it kind of makes sense that you would also want to like curate art because it's the same sort of impulse, I think.
Yes, I can totally see it. And I love your idea of how in your regular life you just love when things match.
I really like everything to match. It's true.
Yes, it's like it's interesting how mystical and almost like mystical and spiritual that feels when you're trying to match, and when it match, you feel like special energy going through you.
Yeah, it's like when you achieve harmony and everything's aligned, it's like such a elevated feeling, and when the things match immediately. And so like even when it's like with the art on the wall or the person that has to meet the person, when it comes together, it's a moment, and it's incredible. I learned this thing the other day. So I very rarely do blind matches, right? So usually I show my clients bios of each other to see if they want to meet each other. And only 3 times in my life have I done a blind setup where I'm just like, listen, and it's usually if it's not my client, it's if I'm doing like a friend a favor. I'm like, listen, just trust me on this. Here's this person number. Just meet them. No questions asked, no bio, no information. And all 3 of those couples that I put together are still together. So I've only done it 3 times, and what I'm thinking is that like this idea of people deciding who they're going to meet or not meet, or it not being curated, I think people are getting in their own way because they have these ideas of what they think that they need, instead of like who actually like vibes, who's like on your wavelength, who makes sense in the story of your life. And like, the matches are very obvious. But I think that because people cannot see themselves, it's hard for them to know like what their match, like who's their match,
Yes, that is so wonderful. So basically, sometimes you need some guidance to um, open up, that magic in your life. You feel like you know everything, but there are some matchmakers and leaders and people that just sometimes can help you to see that hidden treasure. Because sometimes we pass right through the people, we have these ideas and illusions of what we want, and it never works, and and we
Yeah.
pass through.
Yeah,
So
it's almost as if people are like tuned in, like they're like looking for this one idea of like what their guy looks like that maybe they learned from watching movies growing up, right? So it's like the tall, handsome jock or whatever. And like we learned this from like Disney movies. But like those guys in real life aren't kind, and they're not good, and they're not long-term partners. And so all these incredible guys, all these women are like, where are the men? Where are the men? I'm like, the men are all around you. You're just not seeing them because for whatever reason, you didn't think that that kind of guy would be the kind of guy that would make you happy. And so people have these like long list of things they're looking for in a match, but they're not asking themselves the most important question, which is this person going to make me happy?
mm-hmm.
So throw out your list of like, he has to be tall, or he has to have this net worth, or this, that, or the other. Just like when I'm around this person, is my life elevated and am I happy? I think that's the most important question to pay attention to.
I love that. I love that. Absolutely. When you were performing and telling your story at the conference, I felt that this person really understands what matching is about. Because yes, a lot of times people have requirements, you know, the certain age, certain background, you know, whatever that is, you know, income, appearance, and all of that, and they miss out on the most important thing. Am I gonna feel elevated and lifted up and inspired being next to that person?
Energized and wake up in the morning and be like, yes, like this is my life and I'm happy to be here. And this person with me is a great travel companion to go through this world that we're on.
Yes, I so much agree with it. And I think I especially want to bring this to my listeners, because a lot of them are serious about finding somebody, often overseas. Sometimes you just don't know where you will find your special person. But I think that those non-visual things are so important. You know, women spend so much effort sometimes to do the, you know, it's really the classical things, like with their body, you know, all this, I don't know how to call them, you know, when you go and you get shots, you get some surgery.
Yeah, Botox and
Yeah,
liposuctions and making your makeup beautiful and your hair nice, which is, you know, if you're doing that for yourself and it makes you happy, that's wonderful. But I think that that's not the thing that makes, when the guy meets you, that's not the guy that makes them think like, oh, this person's the one for me. It's the person that makes them feel different or that gives them a different experience. Like, men pay attention to how they feel around a woman.
yes.
And so like, if there's another beautiful woman who's like well groomed or whatever, like, sure, yes, but also like you have to make something spark or happen or make people feel alive, I think.
I agree. I feel that people forget about what's the most important, because we all, you know, you can get used to the looks, and, you know, being attracted to somebody is super important. But I feel that it's the way the person makes you feel around them. There is something that is magical, and that leads me right to the process. If you wouldn't mind to share a little bit, how do you actually matchmake? Because I was fascinated when I was listening to you at the conference.
Um, so my process, I wish I could show some of my stuff. So for the last 10 years in person, I've been interviewing 9 single people a day that apply online to meet me. And so I'll bring them in and I'll do an hour-long interview. And even if the person is not going to be a match for one of my clients or going to be a possible client, for me, just having the knowledge of having interviewed so many people is what really, I think, has given me sort of the edge on like understanding what's happening with modern dating right now. So at this point, I've interviewed in person on my couch over 10,000 people, which is major. I think it's probably more single people than any other matchmaker in the world, probably combined. Like no one 10,000 people. And so I file them away in the back, and then I sit and I kind of move them around and kind of start like, because I take notes. So it's almost as if like I'm making a character in my head. And so I remember the old interview by bringing up the notes. And so like I remember like, oh, what kind of movies they like, or what are their life goals? And then I imagine them, the 2 people on a dinner date. And I'm like, does that make sense? Like, is he going to laugh at her jokes? If they were decorating a home together, like do they belong? Like if it was a movie, are they in the same movie? And so that's kind of the feeling. But really, it's like the ones that I know are matches. Like it's like it comes in a moment. I'll just be like it just, and then I'll go back and look at all of the requirements and all the like, family background and like religion and stuff. But usually it's a spark and it kind of just flies through me. And if I'm not paying attention and if I'm not super present, because with every single meeting I have to be, it's crazy. I sit in this chair 9 hours a day, hearing people's problems. But if I can't clock out for 1 second, because if I miss something that moment, and if the moment only comes like once a month or once every 3 months, that's okay, because that's like the rest of someone's life and happiness. And when you put those matches together, the symmetry and sort of the energies of these 2 brilliant people coming together to make the world bigger and better, Incredible. And my clients are going out into the world. Many of them are women, and they're building beautiful companies and changing the world, and just doing so much good. And so for that last element of their life, their love life, if that last puzzle piece can be taken care of, that makes me so happy. So it can free them up to continue making beautiful art, or being doctors, or just doing good work.
Yes, I love that. It's really amazing when you do something that you were meant to be doing, and you do it from your heart. Definitely, it's a business, so it's now something that you do for living,
Right.
but the benefits that you get when you see the people, the things working out, I feel that that's that kind of satisfaction that nobody can take away from you, because it's important to be able to make living and growing, but I feel that you are that person that gets so much inspiration when you know that these newborn couples are going to the world, and that you felt them together.
Yeah, no, it's so satisfying. I really, if it's something that, if it's something that a person's gifted at, I can't recommend this work enough. But it is a lot of work.
Yeah, so working with people, it's the hardest thing you can ever do.
Yeah.
Which would you share with us and about your journey? How did you actually chose this career, or how this career had chosen you?
Right. Yeah. It's funny. As a child, I had such a weird family background. I had a mom who was deaf, and I didn't really learn how to talk until I was 8 or 9, which is pretty late to start talking. So kids would talk around me, but they wouldn't talk to me because they thought that I was deaf. And so my childhood was very lonely. It was very quiet and very lonely. But when I started becoming less shy, I figured that the way to make friends was to be helpful. And so I just always wanted to be useful. And so I was always the person that people would talk to about things, or I had these friends. I didn't know my friends when I was in elementary school, but I didn't know that we were the misfits, or kind of, the weirdos. But they would tell me the boys they liked, and then I'd invite all the boys in an anonymous letter to go to the mall, and then I would try to matchmake them at the mall. Or when my dad was, when I was very young and my dad was single, I went up to a woman at the grocery store, and I was like, you should meet my dad, who's now my stepmom. But I've always been a matchmaker. But I didn't know it was a job. And a long time ago, I was doing this kind of performance art. So my background was in theater. I would do a lot of performance art on the street. And one of the pieces I was doing was I was giving out love advice in the park. So I'd sit in the park all day, and for all day, basically. I would sit in the park for a couple of weeks, and I would just people would come up to me and they'd tell me their stories, and I would try to give them kind of actionable advice.
That is so sweet. I mean, you can just see the given in your personality right there. I remember that from the conference when you were sharing your story, and you had the PowerPoint. I was like, who would do that?
Yeah, I would just sit in the park and just do my job out on the street. And so I was doing that, and I was getting
a lot of free love advice, right? So you had no setting, and it said free love advice, and
people needed to talk. They would come up to me, and they needed to load off. And so sometimes I'd have long lines, and sometimes it'd be raining, and it would be just me and the homeless guy. But it really taught me so much about people, and how every single person is trying to either find a way to fall in love or get love to stay, or every single person is most important in their life. And so I started doing that, and then someone asked me what I did, because they were writing about me, and I'm like, oh, I'm a matchmaker. And I don't know where it came from, because I didn't know any matchmakers. A long time ago, there wasn't really any matchmakers. I didn't know anyone. I was just this poor kid from Florida. And so I was like, I'm a matchmaker. And then it went to press, this interview. And they're like, well, tell us about who you work with. I'm like, I work with brilliant, cool women in their 40s. And because I didn't know anything about matchmaking, I didn't know that, when you're in your 40s, it's harder to find men. So this went to press, and all these women started like emailing me, asking to work with me. And they're like, well, how much do you cost? And I'm like, I don't know, like $500 for 6 months, which is not how much money matchmaking costs, because it is very high touch. And so I started working with maybe the hardest demographic to match in New York, just because the ratio of men to women is so disproportionate. So I started working with these women, and then through time, 10 years later, I got a lot of mentors. And, if you sit in a chair and listen to 10,000 people talk about their problems, you will eventually glean what works and what doesn't work with people. So it took the time of just being there and listening to everyone.
Wow, it's really a labor of love.
It's very laborious, yes.
Yes,
but
labor.
It still feels like an art piece, right? Like I'm sitting in this, shop that's like crazy. It's decorated like a spaceship in here, and like
show it.
People on the street are like watching us do the interviews. They're trying to figure out like what's happening in here.
Yes,
like nobody like really. It's crazy. And it's definitely
your decor too.
Yeah, so this show is on the future of love, and so I tried to curate a show that would help people get excited about what they think the future of love is going to look like, instead of complaining about how like we're so mad that like love has failed us, or what's wrong with monogamy, or like people aren't getting what they want. And so everyone's become very burnt out from online dating. So all I hear is like cynicism all day. And so I was like, well, if love's not working for you right now, the question I've been asking everyone is, what do you think love is going to look like in the future? Because if we can start using our imaginations to imagine something good could exist. And so I'm trying to put more curiosity and wonder for people to start using their imaginations to imagine a future where love is supporting them.
I love that. It's so true. I think you probably inspire people to just also change their focus, because along with those trends, there are a lot of good stuff going on, but we can only focus on one thing at a time. And I think the reprogramming the mind and believing and opening up for beautiful things, it's so important, because I work with people who been hurt, and they now expect everybody to hurt them. And I think we all need some positive focus, but I also believe it starts within us.
Yeah. I think you have to find your special essence, and whatever that trauma was before, you have to let it go, because otherwise you're going to keep attracting people that are also not happy or complete. Like it really, the clients that are the most successful are the ones that have done the work, and there's no way around the work. And so like you can find a match if you want to not do the work, but that match is not going to be great, and because you're not being great. And so I think it's really important for people to be really real with themselves and where they're at with their personal development. And, if they want to take some time to work on that before dating, I think that being a complete and whole person makes the quality of your relationships so much better.
I agree with that so much. It's so true. And I also feel when you are solid inside, and who you are, and you have this, you're basically this being of light. Even if somebody didn't match with you, if somebody fall out or left, I feel that you still keep shining. Like you're not as vulnerable and hurt, because what's yours isn't going anywhere, and you are easier if you have to go through some separation or heartbreak. You let go of people easier, because you realize what's meant to be there isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, and if someone doesn't like you, it doesn't have to be personal. Like if you like someone and they don't like you back, it's just they have different taste. You're not to their taste. Like it's not personal. Like I don't want to be the person that every single man falls in love with. I want to be the person that the man that I want to be in love with is obsessed with. Like I'd rather be the one very special person than appeal to everyone. And I think that works much better.
Yes, I agree, which leads me to the topic. When we were once again in Miami, I felt like you also give out an impression of the person who is really comfortable to be herself. And it was so inspiring because all of us sometimes feel a little bit timid, or sometimes we're trying to make up when we're not so confident with words, and we all sometimes have this, but that's a wonderful feeling of being comfortable to be who you are rather than trying to sort of match and fit in. And I love the point you were making. If you could share a little bit on that, how important it is to show up authentically to your matches rather than try to kind of blend in. And what benefits it brings when you show up as real you, like as real as
Yeah.
possible.
I mean, it's so important to be fully embodied and to be yourself, because when you show up on these dates as you, when the person likes you back, that means they like you. And otherwise, like, what's the point? And because you can pretend to be a different person for a little while, but after time, you're going to get tired and they're going to see the real you. And it's better to get that out of the way on the first date than try to get something that you can't really get and maybe string it along to like the third or fourth date and then like the curtains dropped. But also, if you know who you are, you're going to naturally attract the right kind of matches for you. Like for me, like I'm not for every guy, but for guys that are into science fiction and Burning Man and the stuff and psychedelics and the stuff that I'm really into, that those guys see me, and every single boyfriend I've ever made, I've met like while walking down the streets in New York. They just see me and I see them, and like I know that like that's my person. And I've never online dated. I literally just walked down the street, and all these men have been brilliant, like brilliant, incredible, enriching souls, but they could see what I was putting out was what they were looking for. And so the people that want to find you are looking to find you, but they're not going to be able to find you if you don't look like who you are.
Exactly. Or you're just trying to sort of blend in. And I understand why people do it. I think sometimes you're just afraid to that you would be rejected or judged if you I can understand why, but it's so liberating to just practice. My insight on this is that sometimes we have to um practice being us because sometimes you
Yeah.
live in a small community, or maybe you change the country, or you do something and you just feel a little bit anxious. But I think people actually, once again, the right people gonna love you exactly for who you are, and they will actually, you doing that, I feel that it can unlock their prison. If you show up as you, that's one of the insights was when I listened to you. I felt like, if Amy shows up like she is and who she really is, somebody else can see, well, and I am this, and seeing Amy or another person doing that, I can do that too.
Yeah, and people trust me and connect so much better because I'm not putting on any airs. I'm not trying to do like have my this look. Like all the other matchmakers kind of look the same, and I come in, I'm like, yo, what's up? I'm doing this because I'm the best at what I do in the world, and if you want to work with me, you can. Like there's no sales pitch. Like all my clients, I choose my clients, like they come to me and I let them know if they can hire me. Like I've never sold matchmaking a day in my life.
Wow. So it finds you, right?
It finds me, my people find me, and the people that are good for me to work with find me.
What would you interviewing 10,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
what would you what could you share on their major issues in the modern world when things seem to be so much more available? There is so many ways of communication, and are we getting closer with all that? And we have Facebook, we have all the social media, we have so many dating apps and all of that. Does it make people happier? Do people know how to use it? Do people lose hope? Like what's happening? What one of the major things that people are suffering and need help with?
Yeah, I think that we're at a moment in time we're at a crisis. I don't think anyone is really getting off of their online dating. I think people show up to go on dates that they're meeting through online dating, assuming before they even get on the date that it's going to fail. And so people are starting in this they're sitting down at a dinner table, and I'm looking at you and you're looking at me, and I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with you. Because people, they've had so many bad experiences with online dating that they just assume they're going to be disappointed. But that's not how you fall in love, right? And so like, when I'm setting up people, I'm like, listen, you have to meet Lucy. She's going to change your life. Like, don't ask me why, but just like, this is someone that you need to know. And even if you don't fall in love, you're going to be richer for knowing this person. And so the people sit down at the table, and instead of trying to figure out what's wrong with the other person, they're trying to figure out what's that special thing that Amy saw in that person that makes me think that they're a match, you know? And so they're looking for connection instead of judging and finding. So if like, I could fall in love with many people because I have a very big imagination, and I have different ways of figuring out like how a person is a genius or what's special about them. And I think if you're trying to look about what's special about them instead of judging like, are they good enough for me, you're going to have much more meaningful, and your dating is going to be so much fun too. And I think that's really important, is putting the dating and the optimism back into things. And I thought that there's, in New York, there's so many people. And I thought that with the online dating, people would be less interested in using a matchmaker, but actually people that care about keeping their humanity intact, that don't want to spend hours a day swiping and judging people. And because they have so many options, they're not meeting anyone. They're paralyzed, or they're just like, oh, well, the next person's going to be even better. And so people that have their humanity intact, I think this is a really good way to keep them being good, you know?
Yes. And it's kind of give us, I feel like the online possibilities sometimes giving us the feeling of abundance from one side, but from another side, it's kind of giving us this idea of disposable things.
Yeah.
And easily replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
And people, I think also sometimes people jump very fast into the physical aspects because they have chemistry, maybe they are attracted, but I feel that they didn't spend some time bonding in their relationship, because you jump from one to another, you don't.
And there's no connections through society. It's not a person that you would organically know, so that you know that they're probably okay because like your friend of a friend knows them, and if they weren't okay, someone would have, there's just no, it's just totally out of the context of people. And I walk through the cities, and I see all these people on dates, and no one looks like they're having fun, you know?
Yeah, they're doing this.
Yeah, they're not here.
Oh, that's
it's
cute.
all gone. Yeah, this is gone. I see people at bars doing Tinder next to each other, and I'm like, you're a person and you're a person. Just turn and look at each other. Like we still have physical bodies, and we're in the world, and it's a miracle, and we can use these bodies to connect with other bodies, and it's special. And not every person's going to be your soulmate or the love of your life, but it's all special.
Yes, it's so true. And would you actually share a little bit of how to actually bring more of aliveness to your life and to dating life, if you're currently single and kind of getting a bit discouraged, maybe not quite ready to hire help, but is there any way that the people could play a more active role in their own life and sort of be receptive on the way to create some magic, some romance, and how to get from this passive kind of like, passive and sort of slightly sad and discouraging mode to something where, there is something going on. What would be your suggestion?
So my first suggestion would definitely be to step away from the computer screen, especially if you're getting ready to go on a date. So before you're going on the date, don't spend that time like, being locked into your phone or your computer. Take some time and like be out in the world, get some sunlight. If you meditate or do yoga, that's really helpful to get kind of grounded and in your body. And use conversational questions that a person hasn't asked before. So don't like show up and be like, oh, where are you from? Like, don't ask those questions. Ask questions that make people think and engage and be vulnerable and open. And really try to see, like, imagine like try to see what's special in every person, and treat people like they're people again, and try to do novel things that just anything you can do to make it feel new again. So whether it be dress in a different way, or go to a kind of exciting go do an activity instead of eat dinner. Just like,
I love that. I love that. I love that. Go do an activity instead of just munching for 3 hours.
exactly. Because like, that's like, it feels like a job interview. You're just being stared at, and then like it's very cerebral. Like, get in your body, walk around, go to a museum, see how a person talks about art, but like really engaged with the world, and do something that you love doing regardless. So even if that person isn't your person, you still got to do the thing you like doing. So whether it be roller skating, or you just do things that make you excited,
Yeah.
you know?
Maybe even just, walking downtown and looking at some, some art, or, whatever that might be. I love it. So if you going on a date, or, or you even going on a date with yourself, rather than just having the same thing, active dates are awesome, because I also feel that they put people in a better mood.
You're giving off endorphins when you're moving around, you're not like,
Yes, especially for us, being cooped up in the winter.
yeah, totally. Or even like listen to like some sexy music, and like draw a hot bath, and just like feel yourself, and do things that kind of bring you into your own feminine power. But it's really, really the most important thing you can do is feel good. And so the things that, bring you joy, do those. So because it's that person that's in the room that has that light around them, and that joy and their connection to it. That's always the most attractive woman. Like, it's not the one that's doing everything right, or has like the boobs or the whatever. It's the person that's happy. Like, happiness is the most attractive quality you can find in a person.
It's because probably most of us, want to be somewhere around that happiness. We want that to rub off.
Yeah, they want to get close to that happiness source. Yeah.
I think we all want to know, like, what kind of coffee she's drinking, or what
Exactly,
kind of
what's she doing?
Yes, when I listen to Robin Sharma, it's he's a motivational speaker. He always have this natural, sweet, creative sort of the way he speaks, and I was always wondering what coffee is he drinking, because he's there are people that are just bring life into, not waiting for the event to happen to you so you can bring light to others, but actually be that light.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I really feel
that before he goes on his dates, he has a trampoline in his apartment. He just jumps on his trampoline because it gets him it makes him really happy,
Yes. Who does that?
One of my clients, in his little New York apartment, he has a trampoline, and he just jumps on it a bunch before he goes out on his dates.
Oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, one of the best dates I've ever had was we have a trampoline place, and I would never guess it in a million years. I'm not that much into trampolines, but we have this place. It's called District 5. I don't know if it's a franchise or not. It's basically a place full of trampolines. They have lights and music.
Oh my God, that sounds so fun. Like,
yes.
And if the person's like not down to have an adventure, they're probably not going to be a good life partner, right? Like, you need someone who's going to be down to get into adventures and do stuff, because that's what you're looking for. Is you're looking for an actual literal partner.
Other words, find your kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm, yeah, right? Just be the most extreme version of whatever you're about, and it'll line up and they'll find you.
Yes, exactly. And if you don't have currently somebody, and I think being from Ukraine, I have to say that well, in New York maybe you have a lot of people on the street, but in Michigan, for example, we don't have here a lot of people on the street.
No people on the street in Michigan.
Yes,
you have to online date, yeah.
In Ukraine, I'm from Kyiv, Ukraine. People are social. There is stuff going on all the time. There is so many people that you have easier time to just being around people, and it's kind of adds to your social experience of being comfortable. But I would say this: even if you don't have somebody to go with, even if you don't maybe have a date set up, go to that place by yourself.
Yes,
and you're gonna have great conversations with people because they like the same stuff that you do.
Yeah, I like to like when I go out, I would always bring a book with like a funny title, so people be like, oh, one I was reading was How to Find a Man and Marry Over the Age of 35 by Rachel Greenwald. Do you know this book?
No, it sounds hilarious.
And so I would read it, and then like I'd be in the subway or at a restaurant, and then we'd be like, "What's wrong? No, I'll marry you." Like they would just like come up, and it was such an easy. And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm reading this for work. I'm a matchmaker, but oh, you're single. Maybe I can have you come by the office, and I can interview you for one of my clients."
Oh, you know what? That is another great tip for my entrepreneurial friends. I used to make a lot more of entrepreneurial, sort of like inspiring videos. So guys, if you be your brand, so you can show up, who you are.
Yeah,
And
always be your
having
brand.
that book, I can guarantee you got some connections with just, like you said, having that book and people say, hey, it's a great conversation starter.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree with that. We had some snow days here in Michigan, and sometimes you just miss some feeling of being more social. So sometimes we go to a bookstore. I think the bookstore is an awesome place to meet and just connect to people, because books are about everything, right? There is art, there is business, there is novels, and I felt actually made more Russian friends in the bookstore.
Really?
Yes, because people turn to these places, and reading is a big thing, even if in a digital world, but still it's a big thing where I'm from. And I just discovered, and somebody just told me, it's funny, I had the conversation, somebody just told me, oh, it's hard to meet friends, and there is nobody out there. I'm like, there is nobody out there if you don't leave your couch.
Right.
And after 1 hour, I went to the store and met several friends who actually, one of them was a subscriber of my channel.
That's amazing.
Yes. So it was so inspiring. And I just wanna, it's been a long winter, it's been cold.
Right.
And some people, like you said, when you have 10,000 people, some people are looking for love, some people trying to make the relationship work, and some people are trying to heal.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that a lot of people feel a bit lonelier in winter because it's cold.
It's hard. But I think that people should be building more communities, and I think people should be meeting through friends. And I think that if you're not getting invited to parties where you can meet people, you throw the party. If you know 5 people, even if you know 5 people, if you tell each one of your 5 friends, if they each bring an incredible human being, like you can call it like cool people, like awesome people that should meet party. And if each person brought one person into the fold, that week you'd have 10 people, and the next week you'd have 20 people, and it's connections through people, and people want to be invited to things. And so like you could do the gift of being the person, you could be the connector, and once you're the connector, all the people start coming around through you, and then you can have your pick of people, whoever you want.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love this. And this is also answers the question about how to create, more momentum, and what to do when you feel lonely, and how to be more active in your life. It's just, if you don't have that many friends who are inviting you, become that friend. Don't, we always wait that somebody will knock on the door, say, hey, do you need this? Do you need that? We often are very passive, and we hold grudges to maybe our friends or neighbors or people who do not invite us. But it's such a wonderful point, Amy, to make that, hey, you're not invited to a party, make your own. I love that.
Yeah, make your party, and find 5 people at the bookstore. Be like, hey, I always just act like I'm new in town. It's like, hey, my name's Amy. I just want to know everyone around here. I'm having a party. Just come on by, and if you want to bring a really cool person, we're all about like making connections.
Oh my God, this is awesome. I remember you mentioning, yes, like being active. What did you say?
I said any person can do this, and like even if they don't, like any person can find 5 people to come over to their house or to a restaurant or a bar to meet. You can use music.com. That's great for it. But yeah, start using your friends and your connection. And when you're asking your friends to set you up, don't say like, oh, I want to be set up, but he has to be this, that, and the other. Just ask your friends like, hey, I'm on a quest to meet new people. If any of you have like one great person you could recommend for me to meet for dinner, like I would be so thankful. but don't ask someone great, but don't say like they have to be tall or rich or any of that.
Yes, and in the worst case scenario, you will just have a good time and you will discover somebody. That's
Exactly.
all. Yes, that is so good.
My favorite client, Bryant, he started off very shy, and now he's kind of worked through his anxiety. And he's like, you know what, Amy? Like the crazy thing is like, I love dating. And I'm like, really? You love dating now, Brian? He's like, yeah. Worst case scenario, I get to eat dinner. I love dinner. Best case scenario, I get to eat dinner and fall in love. But like, what's to lose? Like, I love eating dinner. And it's like, that's right, Brian. Just keep loving eating dinner. And you just keep loving it. Live your best life, going to all these great restaurants. And along the way, you're going to fall in love with someone.
Yes. But I really feel that, when you are in love with your own life before you meet somebody, and, you create that moment of positive, just, yes, like, you're just going to go have a great dinner. You're just going to go and spark a great conversation. I think some people just don't like that sort of that you have to make your life shiny first. They kind of want to
They're
attach
waiting for it to happen to them, but no one that's great is going to be attracted to someone who's not actively engaged and a participant and who has agency in their reality. You can't just wait around. And you were told, like, right from movies, like, oh, I'm just gonna wait. One day my prince will come. Like one day he'll come and he'll find me locked up in that tower. Or you'll just know that I'm there. But no, you have to make yourself findable.
Yes, findable.
And
That's
it's
a good
gift.
one.
Someone's looking for you, but they don't. How are they going to find you if you can't make yourself found?
Yes, I agree with that. I feel that sometimes people are getting too comfortable on their couches because but you know what? You can even, if you're an introvert, you can even call an introvert party. When is it going to be, you can go to the library or some nerd place or geek place and say and talk, because these people, they love to communicate, but they just have a different style.
They want to communicate about the subject that they want to talk about.
Yes. By the way, do you consider yourself an introvert or extrovert?
I am a pretty hardcore extrovert on account of making myself interview 54 people a week. If I was an introvert, I would be tired, but this actually, because I know how I work, the more people that are around, the more energized I get. So if I was an introvert though, I would also be a good matchmaker because I'd spend more time, doing online dating stuff, or both are great. And I actually prefer to date introverts over other extroverts.
Yes, I can understand, because it can be a lot.
Yeah, it can be a lot if there's two of this.
But I was thinking, I think, with introverts, sometimes they can be pretty good people for connection, because introverts, they just don't like the crowd in the small talk, but they like to go into depths with one person.
They just want to do like bad small talk. They want to like talk about real things one-on-one.
Yes, but regardless what it is, I really, it's quite impressive to have interviews, to have put so much effort to interview and listen and give you full focus, your full attention to all these people. It really shows the dedication, and it's really wonderful that our world have people that want to make world better just by connecting people. It's a wonderful profession. So if somebody have a identity crisis,
Yeah,
and you love people, that's something to consider.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a reassuring thing having interviewed all these people, just knowing we all care about the same things, we're motivated by the same things, and everyone is really just looking to be understood by someone and feel understood, like it's the same for everyone. And everyone's just looking for that person that helps them feel seen.
Yes. Looking for that one person that helps them feel seen, understood, and it's very true.
And at this time in history, like, loneliness is so high. The average American male has less than one friend, like on average. Like they don't have any friends. Everyone's behind their computer screens. They're seeing these facades of everyone's like amazing life, but so everyone feels, and like, you know, our culture, the way you sell things is by making people feel bad about themselves, right? Like if you don't feel like you're pretty enough or good enough, you'll buy more products. And so, you know, we'll buy fashion magazines if, you know, like if we're keeping, like, if we're never good enough, and if we stay like lonely, that's good for the economy, right? Like if you're happy and you don't give a fuck, like you're not going to be buying makeup, you're not going to be getting like all this Botox or whatever, like there's no money going into the economy. And so we're at a situation where everyone's lonely, but no one knows that everyone's lonely. And so everyone feels unique and alone in their loneliness. But there's another way that's available, and you can kind of wake up and start participating in your own life and going out into the world and connecting with people, and love connecting people just because you love them. And then whatever else happens from that is all just extra.
Yes, it's just such a great reminder of how everything starts with us. Even when we think it's done, but it does, you know. I've learned some time ago, if you want love and care and all the good things, you have to start first giving that. That was for me at first. I was like, how do you give it if you don't have it? And then you realize you do have it, but you just need to dig and take it out.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yes, I actually, you know, when I hear expression to find love, I believe that we already have love. Love is already here. It's already inside of us. The peoples that we meet are the byproduct of what we bring. You know, the people and places, what's around us, it's really a byproduct of how we feel about ourselves. That's why it's not always a good idea when you're totally broken to beg for someone's attention. It's so much better to nourish that love and let it out a little bit with time. When you know, like, I love what Lisa Nichols said. She said, I can't share with you from my cup, but I can share with you, I can share things with you from my saucer, because my saucer is overflowing. Yeah, so you can take as much as you want, but you know, when I'm overflowing and I'm sharing, it gives a wonderful satisfaction to everybody. So I hope that this talk was inspiring for you guys. I wanted to bring Emmy as a bright, some bright light to shed some light on somewhat, you know, depressed, sometimes great days a little bit because of the long winter. I do have a last
Eventually winter
question.
will be over.
Yes,
You know.
the spring is coming. And I do have one last question for now, and that is, how do you create a beautiful storyline? You know, if you maybe still connect with people on apps, or, you know, you kind of, you know, you really desperately, you in a way, you want some romance, you know, you want, you want, you know, like you read in a book and, you know, she showed up and he saw her, like how to make this,
How to make it more romantic. Yeah.
yes.
I think being really playful and whimsical, and making a game. Like this guy I know that just got engaged, he saw this woman on the app and he thought maybe like she could be the one. And he's like, listen, I have to leave town. And she's like, listen, let's just meet for 5 minutes right away, just to like, just see if there's anything there, and we'll do our regular date later. So they go, they meet, and they just see each other like, oh yeah, this is definitely it. But they were going to be traveling for a month. And so what they did, he's like, the whole time while you're traveling and I'm traveling, let's not text message, because in this text messaging, things die, it falls apart, it gets boring. This whole time, why don't we just pick the place we're going to meet and just show up? And if you don't show up, then fine, we're not each other's person, but here's the time and the place. So no texting back and forth. And the whole time, instead of texting back and forth, we'll make each other an art piece. And so when they showed up to meet at this coffee shop a month later without having talked in between, they both came with this art, and it gave them something to think about and create and have a sense of wonder. It was so beautiful.
I love that. Oh, I'm speechless. I absolutely love that.
They just got married.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You know, I think having that, give the person space to, you know, to not overwhelm them. I guess I'm analyzing now, you know, with also dry text and the pictures, what you eat. And I think there is certain, I just feel romance because you naturally, you connecting with them, but it's more than a text. I'm not saying to stop texting to somebody, but I'm just kind of sharing this perspective. And allowing each other meet, like, meet at certain places, I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, and just just make it fun. Think of a romantic way to make it into a game or an adventure. Like, okay, here, like maybe we meet at this spot and there'll be a letter that says where to meet me next, and then it, like, make it like a scavenger hunt, or collaborate on the date together. But yeah, just bring magic and whim to the dating. I think because people are messaging so many people that no one feels special. But if you can make a person feel special, then that's the way to leave an impression. And so if you just put that little bit of extra effort and assume that it's going to work out, oftentimes people will not let you down.
I agree. I feel sometimes the text messaging was created to kill love, because sometimes when we feel a bit lonely, we overdose on it, and then the person can't focus on anything because we keep texting and it's just something to consider.
Here all the time. You're not here. You're not looking. You're not focused. I really think that the oversaturation of texting and Facebook and Instagram and email, I actually don't. My assistant does all my emails. I was done with it. I was like, I don't want to use the computer anymore. Like, this is like one of the rare times that I do use a computer. I don't want to use computers anymore. I want to be present with people so I can do this matchmaking thing. And I'm going to have someone else take care of all my technology stuff. And I have to tell you, I'm really happy.
Yes. I feel like when the phone had wire, the people were free.
Yeah, totally. Like you could go into the world and have private moments and not be accounted for.
Wow. We're
slaves to our cell phones.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, to record this video or to do some things, like sometimes we can schedule something, but I feel it can just so overpower and take those natural, enticing moments. Just to add to it, with the meeting at the places, I think it's really romantic and really out of the box things that really worked out for this couple, definitely, since they are getting married. But also I just have an insight for people who are already in relationships and they're getting a bit stale and a little bit not as
novelty.
As
number one way to make people fall. Like, if you feel like you're not in love anymore, go do something crazy, like do a hot air balloon, go to like do a weird sex thing, just anything to make people's adrenaline goes up. It triggers the feeling of being in love again. And so anything you can do that's outside of the norm and breaking up old patterns is the way to make love stay over a long period of time. Yes,
I agree. Or even start dating again the person you're living with and show up at different places. They don't have to be extra expensive or extra exotic, but sometimes just seeing your person somewhere rather than at home and see them dress up and see them in the world, and coming for dates, because I feel that, sometimes people be just getting so comfortable and it's nice, but adding a little bit of spice, a little bit of romance, as simple as maybe a couple times a week or even once a week, have a date. And that day,
see your person outside of the home. They have to meet you there. They have to make a reservation. You show up, you wear your outfit, and you get to feel like sexy again in a person. And it's you have to keep doing that. You can never stop dating, no matter how long you've been together.
Oh, I love that. So guys, with that being said, I feel like we touched many areas.
We got to a lot, I think, today. Yeah, this is so fun.
Yes, thank you so much. I will be more than happy to, if you have some particular questions, so you just, want to know more, and just feel free to comment, and under the video, we'll see what we can do. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for Amy for sharing her time with us and her wisdom. And
if ever in New York, the Modern Love Club, modernloveclub.com, if you ever want to be matched. Yeah, we're doing good stuff here.
Yes, so if you're in New York, I will post Amy's contacts, or you can write me. I'll connect you to Amy. Either way, you are welcome to connect if you would like to experience this wonderful matchmaking style, which is really rare, and yet it's been working well for so many people. So thank you once again. Thank you once again, and we will see you soon, guys. Thank
All
you.
right, bye.